Hey everyone, me Kevin here with an update on the next rounds of stimulus checks and the future of stimulus. I'll also touch on stocks towards the end. Links down below, by the way, for amazing life insurance and 2 free stocks with Webull when you deposit just $100. Let's get started. Washington Post reporter Jeffrey Stein has just given us incredible insight into the White House by breaking down the 3 factions within the Trump administration. So it's kind of like there are 3 groups with 3 different priorities regarding stimulus within even the White House. First, he said we have the China hawks. That is, they want to be tough on China in regards to trade, manufacturing, and so on. Remember, think of a hawk kind of in contrast with a dove, right? A hawk is aggressive and angry against China. Well, hawks, why are they always angry? I don't know. Maybe they're not. Anyway, he states that people like Peter Navarro in the White House are China hawks. And yes, don't worry, this has to do with the stimulus, just got to get through the factions. Now, the second faction you have is the Wall Street aligned faction. This is basically the rich people. This is like Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and his ties to Goldman Sachs, the Kushner family and their ties to private equity groups. And then you have the third group. This is the conservative group. This is kind of like the traditionally conservative group. And they were originally much more skeptical of Donald Trump. But they kind of warmed up to Donald Trump, and ended up aligning with Donald Trump. And that's why Donald Trump, is obviously our Republican president. Now, conservatives, like traditional conservative Republicans, they're worried about rising debt and rising deficits in the country. This is obviously in contrast with Democrats who say now's not the time to worry about the debt, and economists have kind of been leaning left. They're kind of leaning towards, now is not the time to worry about debt. Obviously, that doesn't change the opinion of conservative Republicans who do focus on fiscal conservativeness. I think that's why they call them conservatives. Anyway, these are people like Mark Meadows. And obviously, every individual person is very complicated, so it's really difficult to just put somebody into a little bucket, but I'm oversimplifying. Let's just go with this. So, here we go. Jeff Stein believes that we want the Wall Street faction within the White House in charge of stimulus checks. Now, initially, you might be thinking, the last thing we need is Wall Street taking control of Main Street. But he had a good, interesting argument. Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, has been in charge of the stimulus check program. He's part of the Wall Street group within the White House. And Steve Mnuchin has already said that stimulus checks are good for the economy and good for elections. And he's currently in charge of stimulus checks. This is actually in contrast to, for example, Mike Pence's group. Mike Pence is more on that traditional conservative side, or in that sort of group, so to speak. And yesterday brought you news that Mike Pence's chief of staff, Mark Short, wants to see a stimulus package closer to $1 trillion. So look at what you got here. You got Mike Pence's group and sort of the traditional conservative group, along with Mitch McConnell going, we want a $1 trillion package. Then you've kind of got the president, along with Steve Mnuchin, going, hey, yes to stimulus checks. We want a $2 trillion package. We're okay spending more. Again, because they realize that, yes, stimulus is good for the economy and, also potentially good for an election. So this goes to show the division that we're seeing in the White House. It's really between the typical conservatives and the Wall Street group within the Republican umbrella. As if things can't get more complicated. Hopefully that was a simple overview, though. The good news, though, is Mike Pence and the traditional conservatives, they're not leading the stimulus charge in the administration. However, we do have the traditional conservatives as a roadblock in the Senate. That's your typical Mitch McConnell image. Now, instead, Donald Trump and Steve Mnuchin have both been supportive of checks, and they're in lead, so that's a good bottom line. And because of that, according to Jeff Stein, again, that Washington Post reporter who works in the White House, he says as long as Trump and Mnuchin continue to lead this stimulus charge, I don't think he's making an election prediction. I think he's just saying right now, as long as they continue this charge, we can, quote, pretty much count on another stimulus check. Now, I don't recommend you count on another stimulus check, but he's saying you can pretty much count on another stimulus check as long as Steve Mnuchin is in charge of the stimulus check program, which right now he is. All right. Sounds good. Well, let's move on. President Trump yesterday warned that his administration would put a, quote, a lot of pressure on governors and others to make sure that schools open. He went as far as saying that everyone wants it, the moms want it, the dads want it, the kids want it, and warned that if schools don't reopen, they could have funding withheld from them. Though it's likely that even if schools do open, they probably would only open for 2 to 3 days a week. Well, for social distancing purposes, kind of have like an alternating schedule, which isn't exactly what parents want to hear because it kind of makes working hard when the kids are around all the time. Okay, I got two. I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Anyway, I got to separate myself with a 1,000-pound door so that they don't come barging in. Anyway, Trump is not wrong. Everyone wants to go back to normal. I think I can speak for everybody. We want to go back to normal. We want to be done with this dreaded pandemic. But I think there are very clear differences in how we go about ending the pandemic, and that is obviously up for debate, which is obviously a great reminder to say that you should get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes, and of course, get your 2 free stocks with Webull. By the way, a lot of you have reached out since I last mentioned and said that, hey, I deposited the $100 too, and then I got, you got various different offers saying, by the way, if you deposit a little more money, we'll give you more free stocks. Honestly, it just seems like Webull is literally just trying to buy your business at this point. And at the very least, like, I use them regularly for buying in after hours or pre-market trading. I love it. Like, these are some of my holdings over at Webull. And I love it. Like, Lemonade's on sale today. It's great. I never liked them in the 80s or 90s, I will say that, but I do like Lemonade under 70. Anyway, let's keep moving on. The Fed just released a statement that, quote, we now face a real-life stress test, even more severe than those previously hypothesized. In English, things might be worse than we thought. I don't know why they can't just say that. Like, whatever. And folks, this could not be more true for the airlines, the cruise lines, the restaurants, the retail, stocks, and companies in general. So if you are in those stocks, be careful. Keep your position small on those. Look, in March and April, it was fun to buy them because we thought we were going to have 30 days to slow the spread and then hop back in. Everything was going to be normal again. But when you've got the Fed warning of a leveling off, you've got airlines and retail and everyone cooling off since the June highs that we had, that euphoria we felt in June, that's like all but gone now for that sector. The International Monetary Fund has reduced expectations, and now people are worried about whether or not schools are actually going to reopen, and more bankruptcies are coming. Like this shirt, this is a Brooks Brothers shirt, the white shirt. And that popular business, well, they just went bankrupt. At least they filed for bankruptcy. Now, the Fed, via Vice Chairman Claudia, said yesterday evening that a double-dip recession is not in their expectation and that, quote, we have a lot of accommodation in place, there's more we can do, and there's more that we will do if we need to. Too bad the Fed is not in charge of the stimulus check program and that would be solved too. By the way, United Airlines just announced, as I started recording this, that up to 36,000 employees could be laid off at United. This literally comes a day after Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says, okay, we've agreed to bailout terms with the airlines. And now they're laying off 36,000 employees, or at least they're giving 60-day notice that they're probably laying off 36,000 employees, which would include 15,000 flight attendants, 11,000 customer service and gate agents, and 5,500 maintenance crew, and 2,200 pilots could all be cut by mid to late August. Thank you for that breaking news. I got to shout out CNBC for that one. I know some of y'all don't like CNBC, but at least I wanted to cite that. Now, meanwhile, Walmart Plus is intended to launch later this month to compete with Amazon Prime at $99 per month, and it should come with free grocery deliveries and one-day delivery for in-stock items. This will be really interesting. But let's get on to the first stimulus check. In the LA Times this morning, a CPA answered questions, and this is what she's been talking about with her clients. She says there are currently 4.7 million unopened paper returns that have accumulated at the IRS since mid-May. 4.7 million, that's crazy. Taxpayers who file paper returns might want to wait, or might have to wait, she says, for a refund, and honestly, possibly even their first stimulus check. Especially if they filed a paper return to get their stimulus check. So if you have not gotten your payment yet, call the IRS. The number is 1-800-919-9835. 1-800-919-9835 to trace your payment. Also, 2 fun facts. The last stimulus check package cost everyone, well, $290 billion. And today, I am wearing pants. See? Pants! At least I am on that leg for now. We'll see you next time, folks. Thanks for watching.